Writing the IELTS is tough. Add on the layer of the depressing state of our world, and we know that it's a little bit harder, but it's okay. You've got this.
Yes, yes, yes.
In this video, I'm going to be sharing all of the tips that help me get really high scores in my IELTS. Hi, welcome to my channel. My name is Sammy, and this video is all about tips, specifically tips for the writing task of the IELTS. But first things first, if you aren't already subscribed to my channel, this is where you hit that subscribe button. Honestly, if you're watching this video, you're going to love my channel, so just hit that subscribe button. You know you want to, just do it.
Do it!
If you want to get the maximum benefits from these tips, then you need to be working on them for at least 1 week before your exam. I think of this as a guide to prepare for the IELTS in 1 week, specifically IELTS writing. You can definitely do it for longer. I definitely recommend doing it for longer, but do it for at least 1 week. Before we get into the tips, I just want to say that I'm sorry for going MIA on you guys. I just really needed to take a step back and catch my breath. I was feeling a little bit overwhelmed.
I don't think anybody understands.
But everything is cool now. I'm back. We're here and we're ready to do this.
Thank you, next bitch.
Starting with tip number 1. When you're preparing for the IELTS, make sure you print out the IELTS answer sheets and use them to practice for the exam. Using the actual answer sheets that you're going to be using on exam day to prepare actually makes you more comfortable with the process of writing out your answers on the answer sheet. You can practice your listening, reading, and specifically your writing on these answer sheets because it helps you pick up the pace with your writing, it helps you work on your handwriting, it helps you get comfortable with just the idea of having to write all those things down on the answer sheets. When I was preparing for my IELTS and using these sheets, after only 1 week of doing it, I was able to tell exactly how many lines I needed to write in the answer sheets to get to the minimum word count of 250 words for the essay. So it helps you plan better with your time. It helps you navigate how many lines you're going to need to write to complete the task in the writing exam. It ultimately helped me save a lot of time on exam day. So you can download all of those answer sheets completely free from my Google Drive by watching my 3 weeks IELTS study plan video, where you will get the link to download all of those answer sheets completely free. So make sure to check out that video if you haven't already seen it, and if you saw it and you missed it, make sure to check out the video again and download those answer sheets to help get you started. And so I definitely recommend using all of the answer sheets to prepare for the exam. The second tip is more of a long-term tip, and it is read books. Not audiobooks, but actual paper books. So I don't know about you guys, but I've never actually enjoyed reading books, like not even like recreational books. Don't get me wrong, not the act of like consuming information, but like actually physically reading books. It has just always been a no-no for me. That's why when I discovered audiobooks, I was like reading as much as I could, because it was like the first time I could actually read books without having to feel like I was dying slowly inside. So yeah, I'm an audiobook girl. I never enjoyed reading as a child, as an adult. Hello?
Sammy D.
Legs. I even have this app on my phone that reads like news articles and PDF documents to me, just because I hate like having to sit still and read a book. It's too much. But unfortunately, for this tip to work, you actually have to read like paper books, like physically read books. Why? Because it helps you learn new words, it helps you perfect sentence structure, like you get to see words in different contexts, and it helps you make sentences better, and ultimately it helps with your IELTS writing. So I know it sucks, but you just got it. So read a book, pick up a book, read a book, read 1, 2, 3, read a couple books before your exams, and I know you won't regret it, because I don't regret it, and I probably will never ever read a physical book ever again. But for my IELTS, I know that it really helped me. The third tip is time yourself while you practice. In my first high score tips video, I talked about how timing myself helped me get really high scores. Make sure you check out that video if you're interested in learning more about it. But timing yourself really makes a difference for you on exam day, because the more you practice while timing yourself, the more you're able to plan your time accordingly and be able to have a foolproof time management plan that's going to help you get through your IELTS and have enough time to proofread your work at least 2 times. So if you're practicing and you're writing right now and you're not able to complete your essay and your letter and still have time to read both those things twice, at least twice, you should be able to read it more times. But if you're not able to read it at least twice before time is up, then you're definitely not ready for the IELTS, and I would recommend taking more time to work on your writing speed.
We don't all have to do things the same way.
The more time you have after you're done writing, the more you're able to thoroughly proofread your essay and your letter. And ultimately, this helps you with high scores because you want the person reading your essay to know that you know exactly what you're talking about. So little errors here and there all over your writing that you could have easily cleaned out with proofreading would really mess up your scores. So make sure you're timing yourself while you practice so you have enough time to proofread and perfect your writing. Tip number 4, you need to learn about the different question types in the IELTS and learn exactly how to answer those questions perfectly. If you haven't seen my last video on the writing structure for the IELTS, make sure you check that out because in that video I break down the pattern for answering questions in the writing task. So you want to really be able to understand your question and dissect it properly. That way you're able to give them the answers that they want. If you don't understand the questions, you're not going to be able to give them the answers that they want. So make sure that you completely understand all the different question types, so when you see a question, you're able to answer it instantly without having to spend too much time dissecting it on exam day. It will also help you plan your answers before you write, which is like a pro tip. You don't want to start answering the questions without having an idea of where you're going in your head. So I recommend reading the question first on exam day and then making a list with bullet points of the points that you're going to be talking about in the essay before you actually begin to write. So once you have that list ready and you're writing, then you can expatiate on it as you write. But you don't want to start writing without having an idea of what you're writing. This will help you make your position in the essay or letter very clear and your sentences very concise and straight to the point. Also, while we're on answering your questions correctly, you need to make sure that when you're answering the questions, you're using the tone that is required in your letters. So some letters are formal letters, semi-formal letters, and informal letters. So when you're writing a formal letter, your tone should be formal. Like you should say things like, instead of I want you to do this, you should say I would like you to do this, because that sounds more formal than I want you to do this. And similarly, when you're writing an informal letter, you want to use the tone that matches that letter as well. Tip number 5, use a variety of linking words in your essays and letters. Make sure you're starting each paragraph with linking words that tie your essay or letter together. So using words like firstly, lastly, in conclusion, and more. Linking words help give your sentences, essay, and your overall write-up a logical flow, which makes it easy for the person reading your essay or letter to really understand what you're trying to say in the write-up. So make sure that you're learning about linking words if you're not very familiar with them. Make sure you're learning a bunch of them and learning a variety of them so you're not reusing the same ones over and over in your essay. Tip number 6, make sure you write clearly.
Oh, Madonna. Rihanna. Ilana. Madonna, Rihanna, Ilana.
Work on making your handwriting as easy to read as possible, not just for you, but for anybody else reading what you wrote. So this is where using those answer sheets really come in handy. So you're able to write your answers out and have other people read it and see what you're writing that isn't clear, so you can work on that up until exam day. Keep in mind that if the person grading your essay or letter has a hard time reading it, this usually means they're going to give you a lower grade than you really deserve. So make sure that you're making your handwriting as easy to read as possible. Make sure you're using correct structures when you're writing your essay and your letter. As I mentioned, my last video goes into details on the structure of your letter and the structure of your essay. You want to make sure that you're using those structures to really give you the backbone of your essay or your letter, because you don't want to just be writing off the top of your head and just guessing as you write. You want to have a foolproof structure that's going to get you from point A to point B and wherever else you need to go with the essay or letter. So make sure you check out that video and watch it and get all of the information that you need to get high scores. Another big tip for while you're writing your essay is that you want to keep your points to one paragraph per point. So I talk about this in detail in the structure video as well, so make sure you're checking that out. And also try to leave a line space in between each paragraph, just for that easy to read tip we talked about earlier. You want to make sure that everything on your answer sheet is as legible as possible. Finally, number 7 is the biggest tip. Proofread, proofread, proofread. You want to make sure that you're proofreading your work as many times as possible, because there's always like some type of like mistake or something. Like it happens to everyone. It doesn't mean you don't know how to write. It just means the pressure of an exam is different from you crafting some special article in your bedroom. So when you're writing and you're speeding and everything is happening really fast, it's very easy to make a mistake. So this is why you need to proofread as many times as possible. This is why I talked about saving time. Saving time is so important, because the more time you have left after writing, the more you're able to proofread your work the way you really need to proofread it. And this is just to make sure that you're not losing any extra points here and there where you could easily grab those points. So you don't want to waste any points, so proofread as many times as possible. And that's it for this video. If it was helpful, make sure you give it a thumbs up. And if you have any useful tips for the IELTS that you would like to share with me or anyone else who's watching this video, make sure you leave that in the comments. I know that something like that would have helped me, and it would probably help a bunch of people. So yeah, if you have any tips that I didn't talk about or you would like to include, please leave it in the comments. I don't think you can ever have too many tips, because it only makes your work better. So leave as many tips in the comments as possible. And if you aren't already subscribed to my channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button, because next week we're going to be talking about something really interesting, and you don't want to miss that. So make sure you hit that subscribe button so that you're the first one to see my video when it comes out next week. And I promise I'm not disappearing again anytime soon. So yeah, subscribe. We will be back next week talking about something really interesting. I don't know if I already said this before, but I'm really excited to be back. I think we're doing great. We're doing amazing. I'm pumped. I can't wait to make more videos. Just being here and being able to talk to you guys. It's actually, I love this for us. I think we're doing amazing right now. So yeah, keep it up. I'll be back. You should be back. And you know, I really can't wait to see you in the next video. So make sure you keep watching. And yeah, that's all I have for right now. I can't wait to see you next time. So keep watching by watching the next video. I'll see you next week. Bye.